Hello, hello! Iris here with the layout for Color Class Designs, and I'm super duper excited to share this one with you for two reasons. One, this release is full of bright colors. It's making me so happy right now, and it's cute words, the little stars and the hearts. It's just so cute. And also because I made a 6x12 insert for my project Life, and I am absolutely loving this size. I've got a full photo of my daughter for the left. It's actually going to be the front of the insert. And the back side is going to be all about what she's into right now because my daughter just turned 13 and it's very special, and I just wanted to get her voice in this layout. I'm arranging the words straight down the middle at the moment, but they're going to be a little skewed side by side. I was going for kind of a Roy G. Biv with the pink at the top and the darker blue at the bottom. Separate from the words, there's a pack of wood veneer. They all have currently and right now on them, and they can nestle with the words. So I'm arranging a whole bunch right now. I figured that's too much. We only really need a couple. One that says currently, one that says right now. I wanted to have enough space for the journaling itself. I do want to add a third wood veneer to follow the rule of threes. It's just aesthetically pleasing. But I started following another train of thought and switched to looking to see if I would want to add some stickers with my daughter's name. Because on the right-hand side there, the word being, I thought maybe the title could be Being Maya, or putting Maya right now on the kind of like a signature at the bottom of the page where she's going to do the journaling. However, I switched gears completely because I want to add some mixed media. I will do a color wash behind each word that matches, but I don't want it to be too dark. I still want the words to stand out. And I'm also going to do some heat embossing. First, I'm testing my colors. Now, I'm using the Avriel liquid watercolors. It is a set that they have, and I love these. They are so much more convenient than using the distress ink pads, which I've used in the past. I like using those too, don't get me wrong. But they're also much better than using a watercolor palette where you have to mix with the dry powder, and then, you can get kind of like messy with that. I feel like these are really easy. They're already water and you can water them down more. And I just squeeze a little tiny bit on my silicone mat and I'm good to go. By the way, I will put a link down below to the silicone mat. It's just like the Heidi Swapp mat, but it's clear and I love it. Now, I mentioned that I am going to do some heat embossing. I wanted to get this resist effect. It's going to be very subtle in the end, where I'm putting the number 13 all throughout, and then I was going to put the color wash on top and have the 13 showing in areas. Like I said, it's going to end up being subtle. I put tissue paper under my page just to catch the grains of embossing powder. I don't want them sticking to my mat. In fact, some did, and it's really hard to get it off. And I pulled out an old Studio Calico alphabet stamp. This one's called Stepping Stones. It has an outline and the inner portion, and you can use them together. I'm just doing the number 13. I'll do separately the outline version and the filled in version, using the clear Versamark to stamp it and clear embossing powder. I don't know the brand, but I think you can get a big tub of it on Amazon or scrapbook.com. I know I got a big tub of it at a scrapbook expo many, many years ago, and that stuff goes a long way. I like the look of the clear embossing powder on anything I stamp, any color, because it kind of gives it more of a translucent effect. And technically, you could use it with any stamp color and not have to buy a whole bunch of embossing powders and colors, although I do. I did one test first just to make sure that that outline numbers would come out crisp, and they do. You can see I have my embossing powder in a tub like Jennifer McGuire recommends. Most of my stamping tips come from her. I also have the Wagner heating gun. I used to have Tim Holtz, but I ran through 3 of them. They kept breaking. So I finally splurged on this, and it's a fantastic heat gun. Also from Jennifer McGuire's recommendation. When I'm embossing, I like to keep a dry brush handy to brush away any little flakes. And I often use my powder tool when I'm embossing on a dark background. It didn't occur to me to do it on this white background though. Fast forward to the next step. So let me tell you which of the Avriel liquid watercolors I actually used. For the pink, I used cherry, mimosa is the yellow, mint to be in the middle, aquamarine, and sapphire at the bottom. And there was another one called Sea Glass that seemed to match Loving more, but it was subtler and I liked the mint to be much better. And you can see from my test piece, I actually switched the order. So I put the mint to be on top, which is the one that is behind Loving, and I put the aqua underneath it. I did that because green naturally falls between yellow and blue, and originally I had the words alternating in caps and lowercase, but rainbow order trumps everything else, at least it does in my brain. I'm also adding splatters as I go. I did blot down some with packaging because I wanted them to smoosh a little bit more. And I'm speeding through this on the video, but look how fun it looks. It reminds me of confetti or the funfetti cake. That's the effect I was going for with this layout. Very bright and fun. I let this dry naturally and then I come back to do my lines for journaling. As I said, I'm going to have my daughter journal. So I wanted to make sure she had a guideline. And I like the look of the lines on there. There's something really pleasing about the black standing out against all the colors. I'm using my quilting ruler, it's by OmniGrid, and all the tick marks are an 1/8 inch apart. There are yellow lines going straight through that mark off 1/4 inches. And I've just discovered that this seems to be a good spacing for my print, my journaling. So I think I'll be using this from now on to get things straight because I am terrible about keeping my journaling straight. Once I finish my lines, I'm going to tack down the acrylics just with the roller adhesive because I want it to be able to move out of the way for my daughter to actually do the journaling, but I wanted her to see the final placement of everything so she could plan accordingly what she's going to write. And I wanted to show you here, I took off the backing from most of them, but I left it on one. The easiest way to remove, I find, is to use a hole piercer because it's really thin and you can get under it. Tweezers might work as well. So you can see that I ended up placing the words not straight in the middle, but I'm zigzagging the placement with the words and the lines to add to the movement of the page. Otherwise, because it's a 6x12, having it down the middle was going to be a little bit boring, I think. One of my favorite parts is adding little bits and bobs here and there. I brought in goodies from my stash. I have some freckled fawn, gossamer blue, and doodlebug enamel shapes. Oh, and Cocoa Vanilla Studio. And I've already had several questions about this. These are the Queen & Company droplets. They're a little clear. They're not gems because they're not faceted. They're just clear. They come in different colorways. Those are an older product, but I did find them on Amazon right now. They're a little pricier than original, but they're there on Amazon. They have a whole bunch of different colors, and they're just so fun because of that translucency. They almost look like colored water droplets, which is what I was playing with, adding them to the layout. I did add that wood veneer hexie in the middle. That gives me my 3 different wood veneers. As far as placement of the little enamel shapes, I stuck with matching colors in each area and just filled empty spaces. And to vary their size and shape, they're mostly circles, but I did add these little arrows at the end. I had to wait a couple days for my daughter to do the journaling. Now let's go back to the other page. At the bottom where I originally thought I would want a title, that present there was really feeling out of place. It's very bright pink. I think it had pigs on it. So I wanted to cover it up instead. I pulled out these journaling spots from my Ali Edwards kits, and I don't really remember why I thought of them. I think it's mostly because I knew I was going to be putting this insert in my project life, and I'm starting to use my Ali Edwards kits for that. But I also figured these would be a fast way to cover that space up without doing, I didn't want to do a rectangular something over the other there. I rummaged through my vellum because I wanted something light and airy. And you see that one on top, the pink on pink? I liked that look, but with my daughter, her favorite color is aqua, and I sort of had my heart set on the aqua heart. And I put the Right Now half circle wood veneer on top. I like that shape of the semicircle, and I just thought it looked cute up there. I rummaged around for quite a bit. In this case, I'm also looking at my acetate pieces, and I knew that I liked the wood veneer there, but I didn't know what else I was going to put in that little area. So I go back and forth with a few things. This is my least favorite part of the process, is when you're trying out a whole bunch of stuff and nothing seems to gel. And finally, I pulled over in my enamel shapes, and I thought, well, hey, why don't I just continue some of the mixed media over from the other side? I do commit to the acrylic heart and the wood veneer at the top at this moment. I prefer to use the red line tape for holding down acrylics, but when it's thin like this, I just use the Liquitex matte medium that I have in the fine line bottle, and it works just perfectly. I cut most of the mixed media out of the video because you already saw me do the mixed media on the other side. I did the embossing so I could have a resist, and I did the colors. But I wanted to show you that I also splattered on the journaling spot, and I splattered directly on my photo. There was a nice background space at the top, and I thought I'd tie it in, and I love the effect of splattering directly on the photos. It might be fun to play around with some mixed media directly on photos. The watercolor seems to absorb and lighten a lot, and you get this really ethereal effect. I just found it so soft and pretty. Right here it's still wet, but you'll be able to see it really well in the still photos. I'll adhere the two circles down below, and then I will put the hexagon with the star in the middle of the two. But then I set this aside for a few days before we both ended up doing journaling. I did it on this side and she did it on the other page. And it wasn't till I did my journaling that I decided to add a few enamel dots to that side. So you don't see me do that because I didn't film that, but here are the still photos coming up. Here's this little embellishment cluster, and you can see the embossing and the watercolor. And here are the two side by side, so I feel like they match pretty well, even though they're not going to be side by side. Here's a peek into how it looks like in my Project Life album. I've just started catching up, and I am doing it in a 9x12 size with these 6x12 inserts, and I'm loving it. Some more details. I was having trouble with the camera capturing that embossing, but you can see it's there. And look how pretty those little dots look on top of the photo itself. These colorful acrylics and the wood veneer are live today on the shop, February 25th, so go have fun shopping. Thanks for stopping by, and if you enjoyed this video, give me a little thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber, if you would subscribe, that would be awesome. I will see you here next time.